What is going on, guys? Thanks for tuning in to yet another video. My name is Anthony Pinto da Costa, and you are watching Canadian Physio Student. Alright people, so I'm back again with another video interview. And today's video interview is all about the physiotherapy program at the University of Manitoba, which I will be discussing with the one and only Tom Pachal. Tom, how's it going today, man?
Good, how are you?
I'm doing well, man. I'm doing well. Did I pronounce the last name right? Or did I butcher that one?
No, that's close. The C is silent. It's a weird name. It's Pahal.
Oh, it's Pahal. Okay, I gotcha. Nice,
Yeah,
man. Nice.
I've had much worse.
Okay, gotcha. Sweet. All right. Well, first of all, just thanks for coming on and do this, man. I know you guys are trying to finish up your last minute requirements in the program, so thanks for taking the time to talk about the program.
Yeah, happy to do it.
Perfect, man. All right. So before we get into it, I guess, can you just provide the viewers with a brief introduction about yourself? You know, tell them who you are, where you're from, education level, all that, and then we'll get right into it.
For sure. So I grew up just on a small farm, about half hour to an hour north of Winnipeg, Manitoba. Then I went to the University of Manitoba for my undergrad. I got a Bachelor of Arts with a psych major and English minor. And then I proceeded on to the U of M for the physio program.
Nice. So born and bred in Manitoba, eh?
Yeah, there, exactly.
Did you ever apply to any schools outside of the province, or were you just all about?
Actually, I just straight for the U of M. Yeah, I look back and I'm like, well, I don't know why I didn't consider it elsewhere. It was just, kind of had that hometown kind of just, yeah.
For sure.
Stick with it.
Yeah, better odds.
Things, so,
Yeah, man, better odds getting into the one in the province too. So, not a bad idea. All right, man. So, first question here, just about U of M's PT program. So, how has your experience been so far in the program?
my experience is it's been pretty awesome. Like I've thoroughly enjoyed the program. It's like a smaller kind of community. It's a class of 50, and we do so much together. So there's so much experience to kind of learn with your cohort and stuff. I took the approach that this is my bachelor's degree. I just kind of got in, got out. Nothing crazy. So then I was like, this is my actual passion, what I want to do. So I just went full tilt and I got involved everywhere I could. Like I got involved, with student council. So I was the president of our program, and then I was involved with kind of our provincial body, the Manitoba Physio Association, just everywhere I could. So just to get the biggest experience of what's out there, and it's been fantastic. We got a wicked faculty, and everyone's just ready to help, and just you learn so much.
Yeah.
I'm just getting all flustered just talking.
Yeah, man. Yeah, that's sweet. So tight-knit community. Like how many people are in the program there? About.
Yeah, so each class is 50, and then so kind of within that you're working within each other, and then they even do they have student learning strategy, they call it, where you break up and you're in a cohort of just 5 of you. So it'll be 10 groups of 5, and kind of that's how you practice a lot of different skills and such. So like one person from each of those will have a session with one of the faculty members, and then they'll get taught the skill, and then you go back and you teach it to your other 4 cohort members. And kind of that's how you learn. You learn from each other, you work together, you practice it for a few sessions. Then you go back to meet with the faculty coach. They kind of check in with everything, make sure it's all good, and then you have kind of a mini OSCE and they assess you on those skills.
Yeah.
So you kind of work within just a couple. That kind of cycles through a couple times through the program, so you work with different people, but just it's very, very close. You get to work with everyone, on a pretty intimate level, which helps to establish pretty good connection with everybody.
Yeah, man, because the classmates, they become colleagues. So I can see how that camaraderie is really strong there, especially with a smaller program, just a 50 like that.
Exactly.
So cool, man. Cool. All right. Next question for you is, can you just provide a brief overview of the U of M PT program? I know it's a big one, but just kind of break it down as best as you can.
Yeah, for sure. So it's 2 years, because I think some go a little bit beyond 2 years, but this one's just 2 years exactly. So you start the first week of August, and then it's kind of the basics. So the first year is the over umbrella idea is just orthopedics. So just the MSK stuff and all that. So, start first week of August, and then you just kind of go into the basic anatomy and all the physiology stuff, and then it's just all the orthopedic side of things and the more, hands-on treatment. And, you progress into kind of the hospital-based physio as well, and that's kind of all enveloped in first year, and that goes straight until spring break. And then we'll have our orthopedic OSCE at the end of that, and then after you do that, you pass that, and then we have our clinical placements. So you have 2 6-week placements you do over the summer session. There's 3 slots, you do 2 of them, so you will get a 6-week break. And then first week of August, you're back for year 2. And then, we do a final touch up on a little couple more advanced orthopedic things for the first couple weeks, but then right into cardiorespiratory. And that goes until about Thanksgiving. And then we do our CVP OSCE. And then there's 2 5-week slots where we'll have our CVP placement. And then the other is a research placement. So this year is very unique. They every year they kind of adapt our research. So this time we actually got to go out to the field with active physios that are researching and work with them on their current projects. So we got to do some kind of hands-on in the field research. You do that and you kind of work on your report, and that carries over for the rest of the year. Then you go Christmas break and then back, and then it's just all the neuro block until spring break. Do the neuro OSCE, and then you have 2 more 6-week placements to go. One being a neuro placement, and then the other elective. So wherever you want to go to, and then that's it.
Nice, man. Nice. So before those first 2 clinical placements that you have in the summer, do you guys do any type of, even if it's just a small clinical visit to any sites to kind of get your feet wet in those clinical areas, or is it just all basically academic until those placements start?
We do a few site visits. So I think early on in the first couple months, we just did a general site visit. They just randomly drew, sent you out for the morning to somewhere. And then for, more specific things, like when we learned about different modalities and stuff, we got to do different site visits to check out different places that kind of specialize in those types of things. So kind of scattered throughout, we did get to get a couple samples before they just threw us to the wolves.
Yeah. Nice, man. Nice. And then you were saying those last 2 placements, like one you said is going to be a neuro placement. Can you have a neuro placement before that? Or does your program set it up where you have to learn neuro before you go into a placement in neuro?
Yeah, they set it up so you have to have the neuro before you do like those neuro-specific placements. But that's to say, when you go anywhere, you're gonna, we learn orthopedics first year, but you see CVP, you see neuro, you see it all. So like, you already kind of have some experience with it before we actually learn it. But yeah, you can't go to like say a stroke clinic specifically yet because we haven't got that formal education portion of it.
For sure, man. That helps a lot. That like helps ease the tension when you go on those placements. Because I know when I was at Queens, there were some students who had cardio rest placements, and we hadn't even learned any cardio rest yet, right? And it's just how the placements happen, right? Like sometimes it's just hard to find. There's 5 schools in Ontario all competing for, placement clinical sites. We all have our own catchment area, but they're still hard to come by, especially if you're trying to match like 70, 80 students all at once. So that helps a lot, man. That's sweet that you guys have it set it up like that.
Yeah, like the faculty member that kind of allocates for the placements, like nobody envies him. Like,
yeah,
he's got a shaved head because I'm sure he'd tear his hair out if he didn't. But, there's only 50 of us, but still, like, just I think 2 years ago, the Winnipeg Regional Health Authority cut the funding for most outpatient in hospitals, so that he lost a crazy amount of placements for the students. So like these past couple of years have been so intense for him that that there's limited options. He's got to bargain with people.
yeah,
it's a crazy job for sure.
Honestly, man, like bless those people because they scrape those placements for us. They got a tough job. But on the topic of placements there, my next question here for you is, where have you been specifically on clinical placements so far? I know you're finishing up as well here.
Yeah, so my first placement was so I live in Selkirk, just north of Winnipeg. So I was actually in the Selkirk General Hospital. That was kind of primary because they still have outpatient and then some inpatient, some in the ER. So a bit of bouncing around there. So that was a good first placement to see. Then my second was a unique one. There's only one like this at the U of M. It was working with a football team, so that was kind of through the whole football season. So it wasn't in a regular placement slot. It just started when the season started, and you go like they got to the city championships. That's how far we went. It started in July. We went to the last game end of October, so that was really cool. You get to work with the team, go to the games, and do that more huge hands-on, sport type physio. And then I was in Seven Oaks General Hospital for my cardio rest placement, just kind of on a medicine ward. And then for my elective, so kind of with the whole COVID thing, electives were kind of very, very limited because all the private clinics were mandated to close by our regulating body in Manitoba. And finally they started to trickle in, and then our clinical instructor was just like, we got to get you guys out to make sure you graduate. So it was super limited. So I didn't really get the things I wanted weren't an option. And then there was a placement that I didn't even know what it was, had no interest in. It was kind of one of my last picks, but I got it, and it actually turned out being something. It was awesome. It was kind of it was a workplace injury management, kind of in a wellness institute, and it was super cool. Like, it was very unique. You get to work. Some patients got to have up to 3 hours because they just have a very chronic condition. It's just the insurers trying to get them back to work, and so people with 10 plus years of chronic pain. So that got really into pain science, which was super interesting to me. And just, so it was very unique, and I really enjoyed it. And then currently now I'm on my last placement at the Selkirk Mental Health Center. So that's kind of the primary mental health hospital in Manitoba. So that's been really cool. I've got to see so many unique cases, and I'm between all the areas. So I'm on the ABI unit, so I get to see, super unique and different brain injuries, and then also kind of on the geriatric side where there's everything from like dementia to schizophrenia, different psychological disorders as well. So it's been super broad, and I've got to see a lot of cool stuff.
That's sweet, man. That's a good variety of placements that you got under your
I've
belt.
done it all. Except private practice, actually. That's the only thing I haven't touched.
Yeah, man. Yeah. And honestly, like, I love how you talked about that one placement where you didn't have any interest in it at all, and it ended up being a great placement for you. I find that
Yeah.
that's a common theme with a lot of PT students. I've had classmates who are just bummed about their placement selections, and then they come back
Sure.
after the 6 weeks and they're like, man, that was amazing. Like, I experienced that with my acute care placement too. So any placement's going to be a great learning opportunity.
Yeah, for sure. That's why I was like, when we kind of had like, we have a big brother, big sister program with the new years coming in, so
Hmm.
like we kind of match up with one of them. So it's kind of when they enter the program, they got somebody in the year ahead of them to ask questions, bounce things off of. Working with those people, it's like you tell them just have an open mind. Like a lot of people come into these programs like, I know where I want to work. Maybe they were a rehab aide at a clinic before. They're like, no, I'm going there and I'm staying there. Like, that's it. But, like, have an open mind, try some new things. And, by the end of the program, most people change their minds anyways. So just
Yep.
have some fun with it.
100%, man. I preach that. I preach that. I thought I was going to be a private practice guy through and through, and now I'm split between private practice and working in a hospital. Never in a million years would I have thought that, but
Yeah.
that's just what happened through placements, man. That's just what happened. What area are you trying to go
Yeah.
into?
I'm baffling my mind about that right now, like, because I've enjoyed all my placements. They've been in such a broad spectrum. Like, I feel like I'm not too picky. Like, I came into the program expecting something private practice, but I also admit, like, I had a very narrow idea of what physio was.
Hmm.
Like, I had never actually been to see a physiotherapist before I got to the program. Like, I took a very bold approach, just like, you heard about the job, looked into it, like, this is what I want to do. And since high school, I was yearning for it. Like, thankfully it paid off. It was a
Yeah.
bold strategy, but so I'm very open to everything. So I just kind of see what's out there and put my hat in the ring to what's open, and maybe I'll bounce around a couple places to find what I really like. But I've enjoyed it all. It's great to be able to work with people in all these different sectors. So
Yeah, man.
I still haven't narrowed it down, but it's a process, and I want to make sure I get it right. So
For sure, man. You got so much time too. So much time. Just
yeah,
love the versatility
exactly.
of this profession, man. It's amazing. All right, next question here. I know this is going to be a tough one too because you've only obviously attended U of M for PT. But what do you think makes U of M's PT program different from some of the other ones in the program or in the country?
Yeah, because I don't have too much of a knowledge. I got a chance last year. I got to go to the CPA forum in PEI, and so I got to talk to some other students about their programs, and just it seems like just the kind of the layout is different. So what I find awesome about the U of M is just kind of the structure of it. So how we started with like the basic anatomy, and then say we cover the shoulder, and then within a week we're already going into the more clinical approach and the clinical reasoning of it and different pathologies and stuff. So it's like we just have the anatomy, and then right away we're already being refreshed with, okay, we're going deeper, and then after that we do the hands-on stuff. So then we're using all that and just going deeper and just kind of revisiting something multiple times right away, just really ironing it in. So that was really cool, and just I enjoyed the transition of things, that base of orthopedics, because when you go on to cardiovascular neuro, like neuro was just doing MSK stuff with a neuro twist, so having that nice foundation, it's like, okay, I don't need to, this isn't new knowledge here, it's just I got to take these different variations and I can apply that, work these together, and use my previous experience or knowledge to help formulate and build off that. So I found it was really good stepping stones, and just from talking to some of the instructors, like they're very interested in how they can make the program better and tweak it so it's a better learning experience for us. So that's one advantage I enjoy. And then the other thing I feel just about Manitoba in general, there's so many just different options for where people can go to work or do placements. Like there's so many rural options, like people will go up 7 hours to Thompson, Manitoba, or they can go, more south. There's so many smaller rural communities that there's so many more options, and there's a big just kind of northern health that goes on, so people get the chance to go up to work with Aboriginal people, kind of bouncing around through there, and just where there's more limited access. So that's a really cool experience. They have different programs, even summer volunteer portions where people can go up for a couple weeks and get to see all that different stuff. So there's a very diverse kind of option for places to go and experience for sure.
Yeah, man, and that's great because going up to those rural areas, there's as you said, they're very underserved communities. So
Yeah,
working there is just it's way more rewarding because like
yeah,
you're just going in there and you're having an immediate impact, right? All these people are coming to see you
yeah.
and they're like, wow, like we got a physiotherapist here. Like this is so much better for the efficiency of our healthcare system. So that's awesome, man. That's awesome. All right. Next question here. Last couple ones I got for you. This one is obviously very pertinent to what's going on in the world right now. So, how has the U of M PT program responded to this whole COVID-19 pandemic?
Yeah, so when everything kind of came about, essentially, and like kind of Manitoba put on their state of emergency, things had to close. We were entering our just kind of our last week of lectures and labs, tutorials and stuff. So just kind of tying up, and then our week after was our final OSCE, and we had a couple exams. So thankfully, we didn't have too much schoolwork to go through. So then they had to, fandangle some ways. We did some online exams, and they had to tweak our OSCE. We even had to do some Zoom assessments where the instructor's there, and then you have to have somebody in. We got a random scenario, and we had to act it out with somebody from our household. So that was kind of interesting. We had to adapt to those different things there. But then, yeah, our placements were supposed to start the week after, but then they had to be delayed because nowhere was willing to take students. All private clinics were closed. So that was about a 7-week hiatus for us, the second years. Then what they did with the first years was they decided to just, postpone all the placements until later in the year when, the second years are done and things have, hopefully cooled down a bit. So they just started integrating a lot of the lecture components for the start of second year, just in an online format through Zoom meetings or different kind of tutorials. So the first year is just kind of got, I think, a week or two of a break, and then they continued just with their, the academics. They were, the called the year 1.5 because they were halfway
Yeah.
between essentially. So they started covering the stuff that they could while at home, leaving any kind of lab kind of hands-on work till things can kind of happen like that again. So they were kind of trucking along through that pretty well. And then, Manitoba, we found ourselves in a pretty good position with everything going on. Like their cases kind of dropped very low and things started looking better. So then we got the chance to get out there. So we had a 7-week delay, and then we were starting to trickle some of us out. Obviously, placements were very limited and hard to get to. So some people have had to wait. Some people weren't able to get in the first slot or two. So, they're still waiting. Not all of us. Like, I was fortunate enough to get right away my first 2 in, so I'll be done right away. But, some others have to wait a couple weeks till the rest of us are out and there's more options so they can go on for their final. But, thankfully, things worked out that we were able to still get out there and keep going. And then I think for the incoming second years in fall, if the university is good and the province is looking okay, they're going to start kind of doing some limited lab work at the university with different precautions and stuff. But overall, they've handled it pretty well. Like, we had a Zoom meeting with our department head almost at least once a week. He was trying to check in. He was asking us our opinion, about placements, like if we're being too aggressive or this. And he wanted to not just take, the school into account, but he also just talked to us, personally, whether you want to email him or come to him in Zoom meetings and stuff. But we were very involved through the whole process. So, that was really awesome to have.
That's great, man. Honestly, like, I've said this so many times, like, no one's prepared for this. And just the way that they've responded, it seems like they've got this pretty much under control. And it's good for you guys, the second years right now, that you guys at least see a light at the end of the tunnel. Like some of the guys going into second year in the fall, like, it's still kind of up in the air. Like, they still do got a plan, but who knows what could happen, right? Like, especially, I know here in Ontario, like, things are starting to open up now, and like, who knows if there's going to be another spike in cases. Like, nobody knows, right? So it's good that you guys are basically tailing at the end of it, and you guys will be out in practice soon.
Yeah, hopefully, if the national kind of stays on track too, and then, if that goes swimmingly. But it's so unpredictable right now.
Yeah, man. All right, that's awesome, dude. Honestly, do you have anything else to say about U of M's PT program, or that's pretty much good? Yeah, no, that was awesome. Just got one last question for you here. This is nothing to do with U of M's PT program, but I just want to get it straight from the heart from you. Any last general words or pieces of advice that you'd give to future physiotherapy students in Canada?
Ooh,
it's a loaded one.
Kind of what I said before. Go in with an open mind. We have such a diverse profession that there's just endless avenues people can take, and just kind of go in, have an open mind, explore what you like, follow up, stay active with kind of current evidence and research, and kind of be more of a trailblazer, because it's an evolving profession. So what you learn here, just kind of take that, learn it, but then still move forward with it, and just try to, I don't know, always be working forward, just be, a better professional, because we got a great profession, and, we just want to see it, keep going forward and make a good name for it. And, it's been awesome so far. So just keep trucking.
Solid, man. Solid. No, I concur. All right, perfect. So again, really appreciate you coming on and do this, man. I think that's going to be really helpful and very insightful for a lot of the students who are going to be watching this, and maybe some students who eventually are going to be at U of M one day for PT. So honestly, can't thank you enough, man.
Yeah, happy to do it.
Perfect. All right, guys. So if you like this video, make sure to like, share, and of course, smash that subscribe button. If you have any comments or questions, please leave a comment in the comment section down below. If you don't want to do that, you can reach out to me on my Instagram at CDN Physio Student, and then we can go from there. All right, people. So I'll see you at the next video.
Another day, another dollar to be made. I'm a workaholic, ballin' hard until the grave. Used to wanna be a baller for the NBA, till the fellas around me started dunking in the 7th grade.